Mayonnaise, the most popular condiment in the United States, beating out ketchup and mustard by quite a bit. This wonderful condiment had really wholesome roots, but the product that we are familiar with on the shelves today has come a long way, and not for the better. It's typically full of soy, corn, GMO crops, and seed oils that we might not want to have in our diets. So I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about reclaiming this fabulous condiment and making it yourself. Today I'm going to show you what ingredients are absolutely essential, which ingredients are fun and optional, how you can adapt this to, say, suit a carnivore diet, and also the secret to a prolonged storage life. So I hope you will stay with me through the whole video and enjoy all of this information, but if you really want to skip straight to the recipe, use the chapter bars and skip away. Absolutely essential ingredients. You're going to need some kind of fat, some kind of acid, some eggs that you're comfortable eating raw, and a little bit of salt. So the fat can be any kind of oil that suits your dietary preferences or your taste preferences. This is the main part of mayonnaise. So you could use a liquid oil like olive oil. I have some sesame oil here. Coconut oil, tallow, lard, schmaltz is amazing. Some eggs. Again, you're gonna be eating these raw, so make sure that you source eggs that you are comfortable eating raw. Some kind of acid. This is actually some fire cider I've made. It adds a lovely flavor and the acid, but you could use any kind of vinegar or fresh lemon juice. The bottled kind tastes a little funky, that comes through, so fresh lemon juice. And then just a pinch of salt. That is the essentials. Just a quick aside, if you've noticed my wonderful blue masking tape, we started our kitchen remodel, which is terribly exciting. The stove used to be here in the center island, and it is now relocated to the corner, which I'm very happy with. So things are changing a little bit in the kitchen, so bear with me on the blue tape. Optional ingredients. This can be a lot of fun. You have a lot of room to really experiment and make this your own. But one thing that you will see included in almost every, at least American mayonnaise recipe, is mustard. This is just the classic flavor that we are used to, but also it is there for a purpose. Mustard is an emulsifier. So if you find that you're having a hard time getting your mayonnaise to emulsify, adding a little bit of mustard could be the fix. And then any dry or fresh spices that your heart desires, you can totally experiment here. You can make curry mayo, you can make all kinds of really fun and unique flavor combinations. And one of my favorite things to do is add a little bit of fresh garlic to some mayonnaise. Amazing, amazing. Now to share with you guys the cost analysis that absolutely shocked me. I know that cooking from scratch and making my own things is much more cost effective, as many of us do. But I don't always sit down and do the math to see exactly how much money I'm saving. But because this was going to be a video, I thought I would see how much it really costs me to make a jar of mayonnaise with my own rendered tallow. If you guys want to see that video on rendering tallow, I'll put it up here somewhere. But it came out with the cost of rendering my own tallow, the negligible cost of vinegar, my own eggs for my chickens, 62 cents. You guys, 62 cents per pint of beyond organic tallow-based mayonnaise made at home, which is incredible. Of course, the cost will vary depending on what kind of oils you guys are using, but that was pretty impressive to me, so I wanted to share. Now, onto the recipe. If you are starting with an oil that is liquid at room temperature, then you don't need to do this step. But if you're starting with something like lard, tallow, butter, something that's solid at room temperature, we're going to need to just melt it. So we're going to measure out 1 cup of oil. And we're going to just put this on the stove. I've got a little saucepan with a little bit of water in the bottom, and over medium heat, we're going to heat this until it just barely melts. You do not want your oil to be hot because you don't want to risk cooking your eggs, but it just needs to be melted enough that it'll blend. While we're waiting for that to melt, we're going to move on to the rest of the ingredients. We're going to start with our eggs, and they need to be room temperature. This is really important because that will help it emulsify. You're pretty likely to have a broken mayonnaise if you use cold eggs. Today I'm using 2 whole eggs because in my experience, the lard, the tallow, the things that are solid at room temperature emulsify just fine with the extra egg white. However, I find with things that are liquid at room temperature, I like to use 1 whole egg and 1 egg yolk. Or optionally, if you have a use for all of the whites, you can make mayonnaise with all yolks. And that is also super rich and amazingly delicious. If you're going to use all yolks, use about 3 to 4. And if you're going to use a duck or like a goose egg, you can probably use 1 egg for this recipe. Next up on our ingredient list is some sort of acid. You can use any kind of vinegar, wine, lemon juice. Today I'm going to use some of this fire cider that is still infusing. I haven't strained it off yet, but this will work beautifully and it'll just add a really nice extra kick of flavor. You need 1.5 tablespoons of whatever acid you choose. Now, the highly recommended optional ingredient, mustard, I am gonna add some today. If you're using mustard, use about a teaspoon. We're going to grab just a little bit of salt because everything needs a little salt just to bring out those flavors and balance. And I'm gonna toss in a couple fresh garlic cloves today. Now for the secret ingredient that is going to give you the best storage life. Sauerkraut, or really any cultured liquid. This is the key to a prolonged storage life for your mayonnaise. You can use just a tablespoon of some cultured sauerkraut liquid, some raw kombucha, the whey off of a batch of raw plain yogurt. Any of those things will work to inoculate your mayonnaise with the good bacteria that will help it to stay fresh longer. Our tallow is all the way melted but not hot, so that is perfect for us to move on. All right, all that's left to do is get our oil incorporated into the rest of this goodness. And the very best way to do that is with an immersion blender. This is the handiest kitchen gadget if you are making jams, jellies, baby food, pureed soups, mashed potatoes, fruit smoothies, whipped cream. This does everything. It pretty much replaced our stand blender. And it is the easiest, most fail-proof way to make mayonnaise. Something like this is also very inexpensive. They range on Amazon from anywhere from $20 to $100. This KitchenAid one is about $40 to $50, and I will definitely put a link in the description for you guys because this thing is an absolute kitchen hero. So if you're using the immersion blender, we don't have to do the slow drizzle. If you're using a food processor or something else, you're going to need to blend this first, and then while your motor is running, do a very, very, very slow drizzle add of your oil so that it doesn't break. Since I'm using the immersion blender, I'm just going to add all of my oil to my mason jar and then give it about 30 seconds for everything to settle, and then we'll get it blended. Once it's settled, you'll be able to see a distinct line where your fat separates from your eggs and your liquid. Once you have that distinct line, nothing's moving around, you're ready to blend. So when we do this, we're just gonna make a firm all the way down to the bottom, and we're not gonna lift it back up until we see this start to be really well blended. Then we can start pulling it up and down and mixing everything else in. All right, that is it. Easy peasy. All right, that is finished. We're just gonna put a lid on it. And part of the process to increase that storage life is letting those good bacteria that we inoculated with this have time to proliferate. So, contrary to everything that we've ever been taught, we're going to leave eggs out on the counter for about 5 to 8 hours to just let this do a little fermentation. Then we'll stick it in the fridge and it's good to go. Thanks for joining me today. I hope that you guys enjoyed and maybe learned something new. If you did, please consider giving this video a thumbs up and let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see you all next week.